MeMonster.
Chapter 110, Road D3C. Rachel and I walked together down this road. D meant the road led to a dungeon. 3 meant it was the third one opened, and C meant the dungeon had been conquered. The tunnel walls displayed lists of monsters from the dungeon and the heroes who likely participated in its conquest. It feels like I'm in an aquarium. The transparent walls revealed a beautiful ocean view. We were about 75 meters below sea level, too shallow for monsters above intermediate rank to live. The monsters I occasionally saw were all cute and harmless. I didn't find the view particularly appealing, so I just kept walking. After a while, I realized Rachel had disappeared. Wondering where she went, I turned around. Rachel was far behind, pressed against the transparent wall, watching a school of fish. Her ocean-colored eyes sparkled like emeralds. I quietly walked back to her. Pretending to look at the fish, I rummaged through my jacket. The bracelet clinked in my hand. How should I give it to her? Would giving it now be too random? I had little experience giving presents, so I wasn't sure. What was I supposed to say? I picked it up on my way here. Sounded weird. Thank you for everything until now. Made it sound like I was leaving forever. It will help your development. Made me sound like a scammer. Wow. At that moment, Rachel let out a childlike exclamation of awe. I followed her gaze. Beyond the tunnel walls, a school of tiny fish swam in a line, forming a giant blob the size of a whale. Amazing, right? Korea is the only country with an underwater tunnel this size. Rachel explained excitedly. Is that so? Yes, because I read many research papers on underground tunnels. Research papers and Rachel. Hard to name a better duo. I had to work hard to understand those research papers since they were in Korean. Now that I'm seeing the real thing, it's even more amazing. I see. Yes, because reading translated versions often leads to loss in meaning. Ah, I see, translated versions. Right. I'm grateful Korean is my first language. I chuckled. English was the subject I bombed on the college scholastic ability test. I remembered regretting not taking extra English classes. I'm jealous. Apparently English was the shared language before outcall. Isn't that interesting? Oh, then, wow, look, there's a shark. A baby shark. You're right. This princess seemed to love the ocean, staring in awe at the tiny shark swimming by. Regardless, this felt like the perfect moment. With the vast ocean around us, watching the scenery from inside the tunnel. I took a deep breath. Rachel, see? Yes? Rachel turned her eyes from the baby shark to me. Smiling awkwardly, I took out the bracelet I'd prepared. Inside its platinum shell was the sealed butterfly seedling dust. So, about this, remember how you helped me a lot before as the team captain? Everyone chipped in to buy this bracelet, so don't misunderstand. Rachel still didn't say anything. A second that felt like 10 passed. I suddenly felt dizzy. Screw it. I held up the bracelet in my right hand and took Rachel's wrist with the other. Then I put the bracelet on her. Click! Now, once she unleashed her magic power, the butterfly seedling dust would seep into her body on its own. I breathed a sigh of relief. Rachel silently looked back and forth between me and the bracelet. She stared at me with a sorrowful look, then dropped her head. Her lips moved as if she was about to say something. It was then... Coon! A sudden vibration shook the tunnel and all the lights flickered off. In an instant, we were surrounded by complete darkness. I quickly took out the Desert Eagle and Rachel drew her rapier. Tock, tock. Soon, we heard footsteps. I turned toward the sound, but not even my 1,000-mile eyes could see the source. What? You're with a companion. A dark voice rang out. I couldn't quite understand what he was saying, but I could tell he was speaking English with a British accent. Because of that, I easily guessed who it was. Lancaster. Rachel's face stiffened. Sir Lancaster. Don't worry. I'm only here to talk. Because I watched something amusing today, I'm not really in the mood to fight. I could only understand the first half of his sentence. He was only here to talk. Here. As soon as Lancaster said this, a corpse suddenly dropped from above. The body was bloodied from head to toe, its limbs twisted in unnatural ways. Heek! Whoa, what is this? The fuck is this? Startled, I cursed without thinking. Rachel also seemed shocked. Her wide eyes turned to me. You cursed? Hakum, I coughed awkwardly. Then we turned our focus back to Lancaster. That person is an agent who has been guarding you from the shadows. Princess, I am always watching you. I want you to know that. After that, Lancaster's voice disappeared. I struggled to comprehend this mind-numbing situation. I expected Lancaster to appear, but not like this. He should have sent a few assassins, making Rachel awaken her ability and defeat them, then say, "My goal today was only to scare you." But what the hell was he doing, throwing around a corpse? The fuck? Just as Lancaster said, there were no other threats, and the lights soon came back on. The tunnel was lit up again. However, the corpse that had startled us was nowhere to be seen. Where did the corpse go? I muttered in a daze. Rachel tapped my shoulder. Hajin, let's go outside. Yes. We began to walk back, staying alert. The eerie, chilling atmosphere gave me goosebumps. Rachel glanced at me and asked, "Are you okay?" Huh? Yes, of course. I was just surprised. So, who was that? I will tell you later. We came out to the main tunnel. Everyone else was already back, deep in serious conversation. Hajin, come here. Kim Suho found me and called me over. What's up with them? Hold on. I left Rachel behind and ran up to Kim Suho. What's up? Hajin, you see, Kim Suho told me that Chae Jin-yoon showed signs of awakening and that Chae Na-yoon had run to meet him. The moment I heard this, I blacked out. When I woke up, I was running somewhere.
Startled, I turned around. As I thought, the familiar voice belonged to Yu Yona. She also seemed to have come in a hurry, but her appearance wasn't shaken at all. Yeah, you too? Yes. I have the duty to participate in all important matters related to the Chae clan. But why did you run over in such a hurry? Without answering, I glared at the hospital. With the Book of Truth, I predicted that the Devil's Seed would sprout in January. Since it was still October, there should have been time. But I'd forgotten one thing. The possibility of Chae Jin-yoon waking up before the Devil's Seed sprouted. If that happened, things would get more complicated. Killing an unconscious patient was much easier than killing a conscious one who could walk around. Suddenly, a piece of cloth touched my forehead. Startled, I looked up. Yu Yona was right in front of me. Why are you sweating so much? Are you that worried? With her soft handkerchief, Yu Yona wiped my sweat. I looked down, wondering why we were at eye level. She was wearing kill heels. Done. Here, you can have this. Yu Yona handed me the handkerchief. Looking at the sweat-soaked cloth, I was surprised. Yeah, thanks. I took the handkerchief and looked back at the hospital. A deep sigh escaped me. He didn't wake up yet, but showed signs of doing so. It's not something to make such a big deal out of. Yu Yona answered what I was wondering. I see. That's great. I turned away. You're going back already? Don't you want to see Na-yoon? Yu Yona sounded surprised. I replied as I walked forward. Nah, I don't think I belong here. I moved slowly. I'd only run a little, but my body and mind were exhausted. Was this what mental exhaustion felt like? As I let out another sigh, my smartwatch rang with a message. Little apprentice, I got the alert that you got your item. So when are you going to take on your next mission? It was from Boss. I realized again she was the only rope I could grab onto. Clenching my teeth, I replied immediately. I can start tomorrow. Watching Kim Ha-jin's figure slowly disappear, Yu Yona thought about what he said. I don't think I belong here. Sounds like a line from a drama. I don't think I belong here. As she murmured in a deep voice, playing around, she received a message on her smartwatch. Yonha, I'm heading over right now. Is Nayun doing okay? The sender was Kim Suho. I haven't even... While typing, she suddenly realized something. Did he leave to make room for Kim Suho? Kim Suho and Chae Nayun. Everyone knew Chae Nayun had feelings for Kim Suho. She clearly acted differently around him. If Kim Hajin wasn't dense, he would have realized that Chae Nayun liked Kim Suho. She half-heartedly replied, "Not yet," and went into the hospital. No, she was about to walk in, but before she could, Chae Nayun trudged out from the entrance. She looked like she'd aged 5 years, but had a faint smile on her face. Yu Yona raised her hand. Nayun! Ah, Yona! Chae Nayun saw Yu Yona and hurried over with a bright smile. She desperately needed someone to talk to. Chae Nayun and Yu Yona sat on a nearby bench. Yu Yona asked carefully, "How's the situation?" "He's still I don't know. The doctor said the graph is spiking up and down. He chased me out saying Oppa needed to rest." Yu Yona understood what Chae Nayun meant. "That's a good thing, right?" "Yeah. There were apparently other cases like this, and those patients all woke up within 3 months." Chae Nayun put her hands over her chest. "I feel like my heart is about to jump out of my body. How embarrassing. I shouldn't cry." Chae Nayun had lived the past 5 years thinking Chae Jin-yoon would never wake up. Her pent-up sorrow and struggles overflowed as she clenched her teeth and cupped her hands over her face. Soon her true feelings came out as sobs and tears. Chae Nayun cried, trembling with her whole body. Her tears should have been tears of happiness, but for some reason they were sad and pitiful. Yu Yona gently patted her back without saying anything. Frankly, Yu Yona couldn't empathize with Chae Nayun's story. Her own family, though a bit obsessive and ambitious, was happy. But Chae Jin-yoon had been in a coma for 5 years with no sign of awakening. Time could only have turned rage into sadness, sadness into frustration, frustration into despair, and despair into resignation. But just when all hope was lost, the possibility of his return had resurfaced. A family member thought lost forever was potentially coming back. Yu Yona couldn't even imagine what Chae Nayun was feeling. My chest hurts." Once Chae Nayun's crying died down a little, Yu Yonha spoke. "Oh right, Nayun. Apparently Kim Suho is coming soon. That person already came by." "That person?" "Kim Hajin." "Kim Hajin came too?" "Yeah." I pictured Kim Hajin, whom she had just met. He looked like he was about to cry and was drenched in sweat. "He was here even before me. He was covered in sweat." Chae Nayun slowly looked around with an odd expression, as if searching for someone hiding. "But he already left." "Eh? Why?" "I don't know." Yu Yona made a mischievous smile. "Maybe he gave up his seat for Kim Suho." "What do you mean?" "Don't you like him? Kim Suho, I mean." Immediately, Chae Nayun's face stiffened. Just as she was about to say something, Yu Yonha turned slightly. "Or maybe you liked him?" No, it's neither. What are you talking about?" "Really? That's not how I saw it." Yu Yonha smirked and teased Chae Nayun, but Chae Nayun seemed to have lost all her energy from crying. It was then that they felt people running towards them. Yu Yonha and Chae Nayun turned their heads. There, they saw Kim Suho, Yoon Sung-ah, and even Shin Jung-hok.
Chapter 112. An underwater cave near England's Bristol Channel. The Chameleon Troupe had established a new base here, with a guild expedition planned near Suwon's abandoned factory, and having wanted to move for some time, they used this opportunity to finally relocate. Roo! Today, the Chameleon Troupe gathered to assess their third-quarter revenue and discuss the battle prowess of their seat candidate, or at least that was the plan. But with several members busy with missions or personal matters, only 5 attended the meeting. Standing before them, Boss displayed a video of Kim Hajin performing his mission. He killed 20 people in just 21 seconds? Is that even a gun? Said a handsome man with a gentle face. Jin Yohan, the troop's seat of green. So, what do you think? Jane prompted. I'm not sure, but he should be around the level of a high intermediate rank hero. What? That high? Huh? How is that high? Jin Yohan's tone made Jane frown. This was her problem with strong people. They underestimated the lower ranks too much. 10 high intermediate rank heroes could beat you up, she said. Nah, that's an exaggeration. Maybe 100 could, Jin Yohan replied, shaking his head and praising himself. Then what do you think, Jane? Well, I think he's intermediate rank. Like Kim Suho, he should be about intermediate rank grade 7 to 9. I'm not sure how he'd fare against a strong opponent, but he seems helpful for fighting many weaker ones. Jane quickly pointed out Kim Hajin's strengths and weaknesses. If Kim Hajin heard her, he'd probably collapse from being overpraised. Only intermediate rank? I'm being generous. If he has this much potential at 17, think about him in 5 years. He'll be an incredibly sharp weapon. Jane had already reached her own conclusion. Kim Hajin had a weapon-type gift that enhanced and transformed weapons using his magic power, and an anti-magic physique that converted his internal magic power to have anti-magic properties. We need Gyong for assessments like this. Is he still in the demon realm? Yeah, that fool doesn't want to come out. The demon realm, another name for pandemonium. Though humans avoided talking about it, pandemonium was more lavish and hedonistic than Las Vegas, and anyone strong enough to break through the monsters can enter. Chok Jung-young is currently enjoying the fights there. What does Boss think? Jane asked, turning to their leader. But Boss didn't reply. Jane looked over and saw Boss busily clicking on a gaming console. Boss, are you playing a game? It's nothing, Boss replied, eyes still on the console. She looked rather cute. Did you fall in love with electronics after texting Kim Hajin? Beep, beep, beep. A game over sound rang out. Boss turned off her console and faced Jane with her black eyes. Jane, don't get cocky. Jane slowly averted her gaze, but remembering how friendly Boss was when texting Kim Hajin, she felt wronged. Feeling a bit jealous, she changed the subject to Droon. Droon, you cleaned up properly, right? Yep, the victims were rescued, and I fed on the rest. Both humans and bullets. Droon smiled brightly. Jane sighed. Say fed. It's creepy when you say you ate them. Also, did you find out what that wolf was? It's Kim Hajin's pet. No, that's not what I... Don't worry about that, Boss interjected. I'll ask him myself. Kim Hajin seems to trust me very much. Really? He'd believe me if I said you use red beans to make wine. Well, if you say so. Jane just nodded for now. 2 days later, as promised, we met in front of the Korean restaurant Che Na-yoon invited us to, Hanjanggak, a 3-star Michelin restaurant. Although only 5 were supposed to come, I ended up joining as well. Welcome, come in, come in. Che Na-yoon, a regular since childhood, let us in. The interior, modeled after a traditional Korean house, was clean and homely. We followed her to our reserved seats, a long table for 6. I sat at the innermost seat, with Kim Suho next to me, then Yi Young-han. Che Na-yoon sat across from me. The food here is amazing. You could look forward to it, Che Na-yoon said, looking into my eyes. Taken aback by her direct gaze, I looked down, pretending to nod. Che Na-yoon started the conversation cheerfully. Being here together reminds me of the past. The past? 1972. We were there for about 7 weeks. My skills improved so much while I was there. I haven't lost once since I came back. Didn't you lose to Rachel? That was a tie. The others chatted happily, reminiscing about the world of the past and discussing worries about the upcoming exams. I listened silently, waiting for the food. Then I noticed someone acting strange. Shin Jong-hak. Oi, Kim Suho,
Is your exam preparation going well? It's so-so. What about you? Have you ever seen me study for an exam? I'm different from you. Oh? Is that so? Right, I'm different from birth. Someone like you who succeeded through hard work probably can't understand. Though Shin Jong-hak showed rivalry toward Kim Soo-ho, he wasn't hostile. He should have been more intimidating, but now his actions were mellow, almost funny. It was a good thing, but I was curious. Why had Shin Jong-hak changed this much? Your food is here. A waiter entered, interrupting my thoughts. Dishes like braised short ribs, soy sauce marinated crab, kimchi, and stone pot rice were placed on the table, typical Korean food. Of the many side dishes, only the grilled short rib patty was limited to one per person. It was my favorite, so I picked it up and took a bite. Wow, this is amazing! Yeah, it's really good, Kim Soo-ho commented beside me. He seemed to savor his food, having only nibbled a corner of his patty. I wasn't like that. I put the whole patty in my mouth. It's good, right? See, I told you it was going to be good. It's good, right? It is, so quiet down. Hoo-hoo! I swallowed the patty and glanced at Shin Jong-hak. He was staring at Kim Soo-ho, looking for any breach of table manners to nitpick, but soon gave up and focused on his own food. I looked down at my plate. What? For some reason, there was another grilled short rib patty on my plate. Did I spit it out? Confused, I looked up and met Chae Na-yoon's eyes. She was smiling contentedly. So this was her doing. When I pointed at the patty with my chopsticks, Chae Na-yoon mouthed silently, "You can have it." Her kindness was a bit overwhelming, but the patty's savory smell was irresistible. Gulp. I swallowed hard. In the end, I surrendered and took a bite. As I chewed, a sudden spark of realization hit me. I looked at Chae Na-yoon, then Shin Jong-hak. Kim Soo-ho, Shin Jong-hak, Chae Na-yoon. In this three-way relationship, the biggest source of Shin Jong-hak's character development was Chae Na-yoon.
I stared at her. Did giving her the time capsule affect her too much? No, that was impossible. Chae Na-yoon liked handsome men. At that moment, Chae Na-yoon laughed. "Why are you staring? Do you want me to order more?" "Huh? Oh, no. Excuse me, auntie." Before I could stop her, Chae Na-yoon called a waiter. "Can we get 2 more grilled short rib patties?" With a mix of sadness and anxiety, I watched Chae Na-yoon order cheerfully. After lunch, we went to karaoke. The group took turns singing. Chae Na-yoon was surprisingly good, and Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han were decent. Shin Jong-hak, whose singing Yoo Young-ha looked forward to, was also better than average. But Kim Hajin was on a whole different level. He could have been a professional. Wow, my ears are melting. Why don't you just go pro? As Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han made a fuss, Yoo Yun-ha glanced at Chae Na-yoon. Kim Ha-jin's song had ended, but Chae Na-yoon still had her eyes closed, savoring the moment. Then, Yoo Yun-ha received a message on her smartwatch. "Come outside. I have something to talk to you about." The sender was Kim Ha-jin. Yoo Yun-ha glanced at him, then left the karaoke room. About 3 minutes later, "Hey, buddy." Someone called her in a friendly tone. Yoo Yun-ha laughed. "Buddy, what's with this sudden English?" "It means friend, don't you know?" "Do you think I wouldn't?" "Anyway, you know how I am, right?" Kim Ha-jin laughed and nodded, getting straight to the point. Yoo Yun-ha wasn't one for small talk. "Of course, I need you to make me some bullets." "Eh? Bullets?" It was an unexpected request. "Yeah, but not manufactured ones. I need custom-made bullets." "That's possible, right?" "Yes, and Essence of the Straits workshop has state-of-the-art technology for it. Even the biggest bullet was smaller than a thumb. Compressing and injecting mana into such a small object was a technology only developed in the 2000s. I know, but also..." Kim Ha-jin took out a small leaf from his pocket. Yu Yunha couldn't tell if it was a fallen leaf or a fresh one, but it didn't fit the situation. What is this? A leaf? Grind it up and put it in the bullets. Come again? Yu Yunha examined the leaf, but found nothing special. She furrowed her brows and stared at Kim Hajin. You won't tell me what it is, even if I ask? Kim Hajin nodded silently. I just have to grind it and put it in the bullets? Yep. Okay. Thanks. Oh, tell the others I'm going home first. Yu Yunha tilted her head. We're leaving soon too, so why not stay? I don't feel comfortable. Shin Jong-hak is eyeing me too much. With that, Kim Ha-jin nudged her shoulder. Startled, Yu Yunha stepped back. Don't do that. It hurts. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm leaving. Yes, see you. Yu Yunha watched him walk away, rubbing her shoulder. Then, an emergency message arrived on her smartwatch. Master, we may have found an incident related to Kim Ha-jin. Yu Yunha's eyes widened. Report. Something called the Kwang-o incident occurred the year Kim Ha-jin was born. There's a huge cover-up. One of our men was attacked while investigating. Attacked? Yu Yunha quickly typed her reply, thinking of the effort and money spent on her investigators. Is he okay? Yes, he's recovering without problems. Submit what you've gathered so far and halt the investigation for now. The safety of investigators comes first. Understood, Master. After ending the conversation, Yu Yunha stared at the words Kwang-o incident. Kwang-o incident. Why does that sound familiar? She remembered seeing the phrase in a casebook in her family's library. No, it was more like her father's diary. She was only 7 years old at the time, but remembered it clearly. She couldn't read it in detail because most was written in Hanja, and her father had scolded her for reading it without permission. I'll have to take a look later. Since father is going on a trip this Friday, I can sneak a peek then. Yu Yunha felt proud. Now she could properly return the favor to her ally. As she turned around joyfully, she saw Che Na-yoon staring at her. Heek! Yu Yunha jumped in surprise. Hey, Na-yoon, what's up? I was wondering where... She gestured with her chin for her to come back. Yeah. Oh, Na-yoon, that person said he's leaving first. What? Why? What did he talk to you about? Che Na-yoon furrowed her brows. Finding this side of her cute, Yu Yunha poked her side. What is it? Geez, you don't have to look at me like that. Like what? Hey, stop. Yu Yunha kept poking her, starting from her side to a more sensitive area. Stop that. Don't. I'm ticklish. Stop. Che Na-yoon ran away from Yu Yunha's teasing, her face flushed. 1. In case it wasn't clear, Hajin says, hey buddy, in English.
I stared at her. Did giving her the time capsule affect her too much? No, that was impossible. Che Na-yoon liked handsome men. At that moment, Che Na-yoon laughed. Why are you staring? Do you want me to order more? Huh? Oh, no. Excuse me, Auntie. Before I could stop her, Che Na-yoon called a waiter. Can we get 2 more grilled short rib patties? With a mix of sadness and anxiety, I watched Che Na-yoon order cheerfully. After lunch, we went to karaoke. The group took turns singing. Che Na-yoon was surprisingly good, and Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han were decent. Shin Jong-hak, whose singing Yu Yen-ha looked forward to, was also better than average. But Kim Ha-jin was on a whole different level. He could have been a professional. Wow, my ears are melting. Why don't you just go pro? While Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han made a fuss, Yu Yen-ha glanced at Che Na-yoon. Kim Ha-jin's song had ended, but Che Na-yoon still had her eyes closed, savoring the moment. Then, Yu Yanha received a message on her smartwatch. Master, we may have found an incident related to Kim Hajin. Yu Yanha's eyes widened. Report. Something called the Kwang-O incident occurred the year Kim Hajin was born. There's a huge cover-up. One of our men was attacked while investigating. Attacked? She quickly typed her reply, thinking of the effort and money spent on her investigators. Is he okay? Yes, he's recovering without problems. Submit what you've gathered so far and halt the investigation for now. The safety of investigators comes first. Understood, Master. After ending the conversation, Yu Yanha stared at the words Kwang-O incident. Kwang-O incident. Why does that sound familiar? She remembered seeing the phrase in a casebook in her family's library. No, it was more like her father's diary. She was only 7 at the time, but remembered it clearly. She couldn't read it in detail because most was written in Hanja, and her father had scolded her for reading it without permission. I'll have to take a look later. Since father is going on a trip this Friday, I can sneak a peek then. Woohoo! Yu Yanha felt proud. Now she could properly return the favor to her ally. As she turned around joyfully, she saw Chae Na-yoon glaring at her. Huh! Yu Yanha jumped in surprise. Hi, hey, Na-yoon, what's up? I was wondering where you went. Chae Na-yoon gestured with her chin for her to come back. Yeah. Oh, Na-yoon, that person said he's leaving first. What? Why? What did he talk about with you? Chae Na-yoon furrowed her brow. Finding this side of her cute, Yu Yanha poked her side. Ach, what is it? Geez, you don't have to look at me like that. Like what? Hey, Aang, stop! Yu Yanha kept poking her, starting from her side to a more sensitive area. Aang, stop poking me! What was that? Really? Aang, hey! Unable to endure it, Chae Na-yoon covered her chest with her hands. Why are you poking me there? Are you mad? It's because I'm jealous. As she explained, Yu Yanha kept her eye out for an opening. She couldn't help but wonder how someone could have such a perfect figure with such perfect softness. On top of that, her skin was milky white. Poke. Stop, don't. I'm ticklish. Oh, stop. Chae Na-yoon ran away from Yu Yanha's teasing, her face flushed. And then, another footnote. In case it wasn't clear, Hajin says, hey, buddy, in English.
I know what you're thinking. I feel the same way. I never thought I'd find someone who knew him either. Tomer jotted down quickly. That person abandoned me and ran away. That's why I've been looking for him. I closed my mouth. Unlike Tomer, I knew the truth. Tomer's father didn't abandon her and run away. It was the opposite. He had protected her by leaving. The reason he killed his wife was because she became a djinn and tried to sell off their daughter. So I'm wondering, did that person leave a will or keepsake behind? The South American culture back then was to kill off all relatives related to djinns. Because of this witch hunt culture, Tomer's father had chosen to become a criminal. Although he ran away to protect his daughter, he had always missed her and wanted to see her. The letter he left behind was for that purpose. Yeah, he left behind a letter. Immediately, Tomer's eyes flickered with coldness. Where? In a memorial, along with his cremation urn. Where's the memorial? Let's go together. I'll take you there. Shut up and just give me the address. Although the theatrical effect wouldn't be as strong if Tomer went alone, it didn't matter too much. Here. I gave her the address. Tomer typed the address on her smartwatch, then wrote on the paper once again. By the way, today will be my last day at Cube. I'm not trying to run off with your money, so don't misunderstand. Excuse me. It was then Kim Hyojin, the chief magician from Seoul Magic Tower, who was giving the lecture, pointed at us. Are you two in a relationship? Only then did I realize what position Tomer and I were in. Our arms were practically touching while we were writing secret notes to each other.
Tomer scurried off to the side, but the cadet's attention had already fallen on us. I don't think you guys suit each other. Also, dating so openly is prohibited in Cube. It's not like that. As I answered, I felt an intense stare on me. It was Chain Ayun. Yu Yanha, who was sitting next to Chain Ayun, was taking notes without caring about Tomer and I, but Chain Ayun was glaring at me with puffed-up cheeks. Cadet Kim Hajin, come here for a minute. Yes. I knew this would happen. There was no chance Kim Hyojin would just let this slide. He was the type who embarrassed students to make himself feel superior. I scratched my neck and got up to the front of the class. Cadet Kim Hajin, you passed the first semester with average scores all around. Kim Hyojin projected the scores I got on last semester's tests. Light sphere, magic power emission, magic power harmonization, etc. The scores were all between C and B+. Then what was today's lesson about? I didn't know. I was dozing off. While I was at a loss for words, a quiet whisper rang out. Barrier, barrier. It was Kim Suho. It's barrier. That's right. Can you demonstrate it for the class? Kim Hyojin asked. Wait, barrier? I suddenly remembered a scene from the original story, Seoul Magic Tower's chief magician Kim Hyojin. Just like I explained in the first semester, Kim Hyojin was a jealous, petty prick who bothered Kim Suho in various ways. Barrier? Yes, try it. Feeling a bit nervous, my lips parched. I activated Stigma's magic power and created a barrier that was only big enough to cover my upper body. Doing so cost 1.5 streaks of Stigma. A clear and glaringly blue magic power formed a pentagon that covered my upper body. In my eyes, it looked quite decent. The pentagonal barrier had a vein-like circuit that efficiently transported magic power across the barrier. As the magic power passed through, the circuit glowed with a pretty blue color. Although I didn't mean to, what I created was a perfect barrier. Kim Hyojin made a somewhat displeased expression, but he soon put on a fake smile and praised me. It looks good. The magic power's transparency is especially noteworthy. However, he quickly added negative remarks. But it's weak, too weak. Everyone, do you know what the problem is with a cadet like him? He suddenly turned to the class and lectured as if I did something deplorable. It looks pretty on the outside. In fact, it's extremely pretty, as if its appearance is all that matters. No, that's the truth. I glanced at my barrier. It was just what Stigma gave me. Cadet Kim Hajin. Suddenly, Kim Hyojin pointed at me. You are not a celebrity. A barrier must be sturdy, even if its appearance isn't the best. Kim Hyojin, ignited a fireball on his palm. This barrier will be blown away by even this tiny fireball. I stared at the fireball. To be honest, I didn't think it would penetrate my barrier. Cadet Kim Hajin, are you ready? Yes. Yes. Then I will now demonstrate why a barrier shouldn't just be pretty. Kim Hyojin didn't throw the fireball. An instantaneous combustion of magic power sent the fireball quickly flying towards me. Boom! A small explosion erupted, along with a light smoke. But my barrier was perfectly fine, and the fireball scattered when it touched my barrier. Immediately, a heavy silence descended. I was surprised. As I thought, Stigma's magic power was on a qualitatively other level. Its only flaw was its quantity. Looks like it's not so bad. But, ding! At that moment, the bell rang, signaling the end of class and cutting him off. After letting out a sigh, Kim Hyojin glared at me uncomfortably and muttered with his teeth clenched, "You can go back to your seat." 4 p.m. Friday's final class ended just like that. 5 p.m. A large 1,500 square meter mansion, located in Gangnam, Seoul. This Western-style castle that took up land worth tens of billions of won was the family house of the famous Yu clan. Yu Yanha came here today as soon as class ended. "Welcome home, young lady." When she approached the front door, a butler greeted her politely. It's been a while. So are father and mother home? Yu Yanha whispered. Master is on a business trip and mistress left for a seminar. Oh, how unfortunate. I dropped by to see them. Should I give them a call? Mistress left not long ago. Yes? Oh, no, you don't need to do that. Yu Yanha smiled happily as she gave her baggage to the butler. With even her mother gone, the situation was better than she expected. I have exams coming up, so I'll go up to the library to read my father's books. Yes, young lady. Although she knew her father and mother weren't home, she still tiptoed upstairs to her father's library. It was to look for information regarding the Guangzhou incident. I haven't been here in such a long time. Her father's library was filled with tens of thousands of books. The entire collection would be just as expensive as their family house. But Yu Yanha's attention was elsewhere. She pushed aside her father's desk and moved the carpet that was underneath it. A secret vault revealed itself. Huh? It needs a password now?
10 years ago, it was only a simple box. Yu Yanha thought for a moment, then pushed 4 numbers. 0429. It wasn't Yu Yanha's birthday. 0816. It wasn't her mother's birthday either. Yu Yanha thought harder. Although there was a skilled hacker among her investigators, this vault wasn't connected to the internet, so it was impossible to hack into it. Did she have to give up after coming all the way here? 04290816. Suddenly remembering something, she put together her birthday with her mother's. Bingo. Beep beep. The vault opened. Let's see. Inside, she found an old and thick diary. It was the diary her father kept for 20 years. Flipping through the pages, Yu Yanha looked for the word Guangzhou. Guangzhou, Guangzhou, Guangzhou. Ah, here it is. Today, I received a report on Guangzhou. September 9th, 2008. Yu Yanha began to read the diary. Chapter 114. Today, I received a report on Guangzhou. As soon as she read the first line, her investigators sent her a message saying that Kim Hajin was admitted to an orphanage near Guangzhou evacuation shelter. Yu Yanha felt a pang of sadness that she didn't have any potato chips with her as she slowly turned the page. Now that she was older, she could easily read Hanja, which her father often used in his writing. Quote, the media reported last night's incident as Dijin attack on Guangzhou evacuation shelter. That civilians and 9 heroes who evacuated to the shelter were massacred by a single Dijin. I would never be able to forget what happened that day in Guangzhou for the rest of my life. At first, it seemed like a simple recount of the Guangzhou evacuation shelter massacre. However, starting from the next paragraph, the tone of the writing changed. Quote, President Kim Suk-ho declared Jin Young-hwan, who troubled him, to be a secret agent of the Dijins, but I knew that Jin Young-hwan was an honest man. His only flaw was that he was too honest, and perhaps Kim Suk-ho didn't want his embarrassing secrets to leak out. End quote. Yu Yanha turned the page back and read it again, but she couldn't understand the content even after a second reading. Thinking she might have misinterpreted a few words, she even translated it with a smartwatch app. However, the content was unchanged, and Yu Yanha continued reading her father's confession in confusion. Quote, on that day, I received a transmission from Jin Young-hwan. His voice was urgent, but it was me who concocted that monster invasion. I told Jin Young-hwan that saving civilians came first and drove them to a corner. Guangzhou evacuation shelter. Jin Young-hwan tried to protect the civilians in that place. The neat handwriting Yu Yanha recognized pricked her eyes. She felt a strong headache. However, she couldn't stop reading. Quote, November 8th, 8 p.m., the assassin Che Ju-chul hired invaded the evacuation shelter. He murdered Jin Young-hwan and his subordinates. That was their end. I wanted to bury this incident in my heart, but the very next day I received the assassin's report that one of Jin Young-hwan's subordinates was with his pregnant wife. Pregnant wife.
Yu Yunhei froze when she read those words. Pregnant. Kim Hajin was admitted to an orphanage the day after the Kwang-o incident. Quote, there was another interesting matter in the report, that an umbilical cord was found at the site. Even in the face of death, the mother had given birth. The corpse of the baby was never found, end quote. When Yu Yunhei reached this part, she fully realized what had happened. Although there was no evidence, her heart was screaming. Yu Yunhei squeezed her chest, hoping that the baby wasn't Kim Hajin. Quote, this baby was fated to die. Even if he expended his life by a little bit, he would have no future. So I set out to find him and kill him. When she read her father's heartless declaration, she felt something inside her shatter. Pieces of her memory flashed through her mind. Quote, don't worry about it and sleep. It'll be over by the time you wake up. An image of a man who fought against an entire army of monsters to save her emerged in her mind. He had put his life on the line to save her. However, her father had led his parents to death and had tried to kill him as well. Quote, but I suddenly remembered April 29th when my daughter was born. Although she could do nothing by herself, just her existence brought me great happiness. I called the assassin and asked what happened. He said that he threw away the baby without killing him. End quote. Yu Yunhei dropped her head and tightly clenched her trembling hands. At that moment, a familiar voice rang out in her head. Quote, hey, don't you think we can become good allies? It was her own voice. For the first time in her life, she had asked someone to become her ally. Though insignificant, it was her way of showing her gratitude. Quote, in the end, I omitted information about that child from the report. But I killed his parents and didn't help him live. Left alone on the cold ground, he might be slowly dying at this very moment. I have no intention of denying this. End quote. Quote, buddy means friend, don't you know? In the not-so-distant past, he had acknowledged her as an ally. His voice from that time transformed into a sharp blade that struck her heart. Yu Yunhei's fingers trembled. She no longer had the courage to turn another page. Her heart began to beat violently. She felt an unknown emotion rising from the depths of her heart. Guilt, resentment, anguish. She couldn't think, and she didn't want to either. Cold sweat formed on her forehead. Her vision turned blurry as a world-shattering exhaustion engulfed her body. Quote, I've lived a life of a coward. Even if I dirtied myself more, it would make no difference. So I decided to forget, for my daughter and for my clan. But I am leaving the truth behind in this diary. Was I just trying to appease my guilty conscience, or was it to spite Che-ju Chol? That I didn't know. End quote. Kim Hajin's face and her father's confession joined together to form an image of a monster. Yu Yunhei couldn't withstand this monster. Kim Hajin, Kim Hajin, Kim Hajin. His name flickered in her vision like an apparition. She choked up, and her heart ached. The torrent of emotions was too much for her to bear. Seiho Memorial. On a dark night, a crescent moon shone down cold light. Tomer was standing alone under this pale glow. She had already dealt with all of her personal affairs before coming here. She couldn't predict what her days would be like going forward. She had lived her life for revenge, but now that revenge was impossible to achieve, it was entirely possible that she would tear her father's will apart and take her own life. Kink. Tomer roughly opened the silent memorial's door and looked for Agus Benjamin's name. Soon she found a cabinet engraved with his name which stood out from the rest. Agus Benjamin. Inside the small square cabinet was a cremation urn with the name Augusto Benjamin written in Spanish. Because of the flowers surrounding the urn, it didn't look so lonely. What's this? Dumbfounded at the number of flowers inside the cabinet, Tomer pulled the cabinet all the way out and picked one of them up. On it was a small card. Quote, 2024 April, Kim Hajin. Tomer immediately checked the rest of the flowers. 2024 August, Kim Hajin. 2025 April, Kim Hajin. 2025 August, Kim Hajin. They were all from Kim Hajin. Because the flowers were refined with manna, they didn't wilt either. Hell.
Tomer cursed and threw the flowers aside. Then she found a yellow envelope inside the cabinet. Tomer carefully held it up. Written on the cover in Spanish was the phrase, "To my daughter." Immediately, a fiery heat rose up from her heart. She ripped the envelope open and began to read the letter. She was curious what excuse her damnable father had cooked up. Quote, "Dearest my beloved daughter."
As I am writing this letter, I am wrought with complicated emotions. On one hand, I hope that you don't read it. But on the other, I hope that you do. I am also worried how you will feel afterwards. Tomer skimmed over the letter. It was partly because it was hard for her to get used to reading Spanish again. Unable to withstand the temptation, your mother sold her soul to a djinn. I couldn't let anyone find out that she became a djinn. It was the only way to save you from a society where relatives of djinns were lynched or executed. However, there were several sentences that she found hard to understand. Furthermore, she found them harder to accept. Rather than acceptance, Tomer felt rage. As far as she was concerned, her father was refusing to repent and was blaming her mother. I wanted you to go to Korea. I wanted you to live a more stable life in a more stable place. But when I came to Korea, you were gone. I gave up everything I owned to a friend to protect you, but I couldn't contact him either. Feeling like everything in the world betrayed me, I thought to end my worthless life. Tomer crumpled the letter without reading it until the end. She considered it a lie and was about to tear it apart. It was then that 2 items fell on the ground from inside the envelope. A rusty brooch, the birthday gift her father gave her when she was little. A small watch, the gift she gave her father by saving up her allowance. Tomer stared at the 2 items in a daze. At the same time, she felt the foundation of her being rumbling. Tomer leaned against the wall and opened up the crumpled letter. Collecting her thoughts, she began to read the letter again, this time slowly and thoroughly. The Lotus Inn, Busan. Currently, I was staying at the presidential suite of this luxury hotel. On the balcony of this 500 square meter room, I was sipping on a glass of wine. Usually, a suite like this was hard to come by even with money. But because someone canceled right before I made the reservation, I was able to get it cheaply. Though it was still a room that cost 8 million won a night. In any case, luck made my daily life comfortable to no end. What a beautiful view. Sitting on the balcony, I stared into the horizon. The beach was within my view, and as it was the night before the festival, the streets were lit up with beautiful colors. Water gun wars, fireworks, and even dining at a 3-star Michelin restaurant. I took pictures of Evandel and Hajin running around and having fun. My personal favorite was Evandel's face when she tasted a 3-star Michelin dish for the first time. For the first time in a while, I felt like I was on true vacation. Thanks! That was the message I just got from Tomer. This also made me happy. Since the magic power contract was still active, our relationship as creditor and debtor still existed. Now Tomer should become my ally without careering off course. Wow, look at that, Hajin! We're inside this paper! I could hear Evandel's voice coming from the living room. She seemed fascinated by the pictures I printed. I couldn't help but smile at just how pure she was. When I took a sip of wine, feeling the fresh air, I received another message on my smartwatch. Hajin, if possible, can you maybe teach me how to wield magic power? The sender was Rachel. That wasn't the only message. To be honest, I was in awe when I saw the barrier Hajin showed in class. Recently, I've also been feeling like I hit a wall. Although I found her message cute, there was nothing I could do for her. I didn't know anything about barrier, since Stigma created it for me. Rather than that, a wall. Was the bracelet not working? I should have tested it before I gave it to her. I can even give you lesson fees. When I was about to refuse her offer, I suddenly thought of something. Hitting a wall. If the bracelet I gave her worked as intended, the butterfly's seedling dust should have seeped into her, helping her reach a new height. It wasn't just because it awakened her potential. It was because Rachel's gift was related to elementals. Rachel was a proud girl. I knew it well because I was the one who created her. The fact that a proud girl like Rachel was asking someone like me for help showed how frustrated she was with her current situation. I couldn't blame her. She should have been enlightened at the end of the first semester, but it was being delayed for close to half a year. See you Sunday night. In the end, I agreed. All I needed to do was make the butterfly seedling dust in her bracelet seep into her. Ah, what a great breeze! Standing up, I leaned against the handrail. I looked down instinctively. From the presidential suite on the 60th floor, people below looked like ants. While I was observing the people walking by, my eyes fell on a man walking down a seemingly average street. No, to be precise, the man caught my eyes. He was dressed more fancily and brightly than anyone else. Black hair, long hair, and tall nose. This handsome man resembled Legolas. At that moment, I was struck with an ominous sensation. I stared at the man intently. The man looked up as though he felt my gaze. Although an ordinary person would never have been able to discover me from this distance, I could tell that he was directly looking at me. The man smiled, almost as though he was trying to confirm something. Feeling my heart tremble, I returned a relaxed smile. Then the smile on his face became even wider. For some reason, I felt like I knew who he was. My intuition as the original author of this world was screaming. A man who was born in another world just like Kim Soo-ho, but had a completely different personality. A man despairing at the loss of his homeworld, betrayed and worn down by his desires. A seeker of evil with twisted beliefs, searching for a false paradise. The growth-type final boss I designed, whose name I feared to utter. However, I was only the original author. I had no way of knowing what changes the co-author made. Not to mention, I went on hiatus right when he should have started to get active. Hold on. Suddenly, I had a strange thought. Did the final boss I designed look like that? It was true that the Busan Festival was where he first appeared, but his smile was strange. He was still looking at me and smiling. I didn't remember writing anything about him smiling frequently. At that moment, the man nudged his companion and gestured at me, as if he was saying, "Look at that guy." Right, he had a companion, a guy and a girl. They both looked up at me. I met eyes with the girl, a navy-haired beauty with a sharp expression. Her eyes flickered coldly. Her piercing killing intent pressed down on me. This crazy girl was letting out killing intent just because I met her eyes. Wait a minute. Suddenly, I felt a bit scared.
Could it be? The final boss was supposed to be the polar opposite of Kim Soo-ho. Could it be that he became a she? Although it wasn't implausible, I hoped that the co-author had enough common sense not to let that happen.
Chapter 115. I calmly observed the final boss party, trying to determine who among them was the final boss and whether that person was male or female. The group began talking, pointing at me. Thanks to my gift, I could hear their voices. "Sayuk, what do you think about him?" The man addressed the girl who was still glaring at me. Sayuk. That meant her last name was Jin. Jin Sayuk. I sighed and pressed my temple. I checked my smartwatch, hoping for a message to explain the situation, but there was nothing. Meanwhile, their conversation continued. "Is he really looking at us?" Jin Sayuk, still glaring, asked the man. Of course, our eyes met. "Really? But he doesn't look strong." Jin Sayuk was designed to be the growing final boss. With the same or even greater potential than Kim Soo-ho, she would surpass him and become the final boss by the end of the story. In a way, she was Kim Soo-ho's true rival. Even though she was now a girl, her fate shouldn't have changed. If I had a bullet refined with mistletoe's leaf, she was an enemy I would kill, even if it cost all my SP. Sayuk, train your discernment. Someone who can look down at us from that distance and glare back isn't average. The man was right. My eyesight was special. To match it, one's perception stat needed to be at least 15. And look at that beard. He looked strong too. I rubbed my beard. I'd let it grow since I was earning SP just by walking around Cube, but maybe it was time to shave. "Didn't you tell me not to judge a book by its cover?" Jin Sayuk glared at the man, but he only laughed. I grew more curious about the man's identity. In the original story, Jin Sayuk only had lackeys beside her. Oh, never mind. This world was different. I needed to stop clinging to the original story. That's because I have good discernment and you don't. Listen, brat, stop glaring at him. Are you trying to pick a fight? He glared at me first. He's still glaring at me. I'm sure he's just attracted to you. Why not wink at him? Show off your beauty. What about a death wink? I can shoot a beam of magic power at him. I flinched. This crazy woman? Thankfully, the man stopped Jin Sayuk. He waved at me and walked away to an unknown place. Although caught off guard, I confirmed the girl's identity. But who was that man standing as her equal or even superior? Hajin, can Hyang and I go swimming together? Huh? I turned. Evandel was swinging her legs in the presidential suite's indoor pool while Hyang swam nearby. Sure, but do you know how to swim? Of course. Evandel jumped into the pool, boasting. She didn't need to change. Her clothes were made of magic power. Hyang, let's race. Hyang swam to the starting point. I could see this mystical cat was getting smarter. It will be ready, set, then go, okay? Ready? He drew out his words, watching Hyang's posture. Then suddenly, start! She shouted and got a head start. Surprised by her trick, Hyang quickly chased after her. I smiled warmly as I watched them. Was this what having a daughter felt like? Though, of course, I couldn't have a child like Evandel with my genes. Saturday morning. Instead of returning to Cube, I went to the new apartment I'd purchased. Located in Seoul's Socho district, each room was about 160 square meters. Buying this place made me realize my financial power wasn't as great as I thought. Even as a multi-billionaire from the stock market, this apartment cost half my savings. Of course, land cost was a factor. Despite being a superpower, Korea was a small country. Hajin, where is this? It's so big. It's our new house. We'll stay here sometimes. Think of it as a villa. Aha! Evandel ran and sat on the couch just like she did in Cube's dorm. Hyang wandered, looking for a high place to climb. I should have brought the nightingales, Evandel murmured, rolling on the couch. For her, nightingales meant all the birds she created. Although they looked different, she called them all nightingales, probably because I did. Evandel, play with Hyang here. We have Legos, dolls, a video game console, a TV, and snacks in the fridge. Uncle will be out for a bit. On! Meow! Since I had played with them all night, Evandel and Hyang happily agreed. I left and got on Augusta. Listening to its engine, I sped through the city and arrived at Seoul Portal Station at 8 p.m., an hour early. I parked and sat on a bench in the waiting room. As time passed, people arrived. First was Oh Han. He looked surprised to see me early. You're already here, Hajin-shi? Yep. Kim Suho arrived next, dragging a half-asleep Lee Young-han. Hajin, why are you here so early? No reason. I guess I was just looking forward to it. Oh, I get it. Cuckoo, that's cute. Kim Suho laughed. Then he turned to Oh Han. Oh, right. Senior Oh Han. Yu Yan-hei says she'll come later tonight. She's not feeling well. What? I was surprised. Yu Yan-hei coming late? Why wasn't she well? There shouldn't have been any incident. Do you know why? Apparently she's hospitalized. What? Hospitalized? My surprise turned to shock. Lee Young-han yawned and replied, I think it was gastritis from stress. She's kind of sensitive. Chai No-yoon even visited her yesterday. Just then, Chae Na-yoon entered the station. Yo! With a bright smile, she waved and ran up to us. I was puzzled. Chae Na-yoon wasn't the type to smile so joyfully when her friend was sick. I heard Yu Yan-hei is sick. Oh, Yan-hei? She's fine now. I stayed up with her all night. Her complexion's better. She told me to go ahead. Did she? So she must have just eaten something bad. Yu Yanhei did like to sneak junk food. All right, everyone, let's go. Oh Han smiled and led us through the portal. It only took 10 steps to get from Seoul to Busan. Once outside the Busan portal station, the city scenery came into view. Busan truly deserved to be called Korea's second capital. Blue sky, shops lining the streets, people of all nationalities, yet everyone spoke Korean. Busan, Busan, Busan seagulls. Che Na-in hummed and came next to me. Hey, have you been to Busan? Yeah, obviously. I see. Oh, look, that must be Busan Street Shop Road. She nudged my arm and pointed at a road filled with vendors. We walked in as a group. Clothes, weapons, scrolls, books, everything was on display. Che Na-yun looked around wide-eyed, then disappeared like the wind. About 5 minutes later, hey, try this. Che Na-yun brought a hat. What's this? Try it on. Before I could answer, she put the hat on my head and looked me over. Ooh, not bad. Want me to buy it for you? Nah, I'm good. But I already bought it, so just keep it on.
She disappeared again. I looked at the price tag. 350,000 won for a hat? Since it was a gift, I kept it on and continued browsing, hoping to find a valuable antique like in Clancy Islet. Che Na-yun reappeared, this time with a hot dog. Hey, eat this! Where did you... Before I could finish, she stuffed the hot dog in my mouth. Why aren't you eating? I'll get sick if I do. She giggled like the child as I ate. I stared back silently. She was cheerful and energetic. Her brightness was making me tired. Was it because Che Jin-yoon's condition improved? Or because she... Suddenly, my stomach churned. A question rose in my mind. Was I allowed to be this friendly with Che Na-yun? I wanted to keep our relationship as uncomfortable acquaintances. But feelings aren't easily controlled. Now a dark thought surfaced. It was okay as long as she never found out. Hey, try this on. It's going to get cold soon. Che Na-yun reappeared with a scarf and put it around my neck. Where do you keep getting these things? Take it off. Ah, but it's going to get cold soon. Hey, Kim Hajin, where are you going? I ran away as fast as I could. I was exhausted. The day passed in fun, and it was already evening. Since it was autumn, darkness had fallen early. Today's final course is Busan Disneyland. We stood before our last destination, Disneyland. Inside, smugglers would soon conduct a secret trade, which would devolve into chaos. Kim Suo would run into Jin Sayuk while trying to suppress the mess. Just as we were about to enter, Che Na-yun checked her smartwatch. Ah, Yun-ha says she's here now. A limousine stopped at the entrance. Yu Yun-ha stepped out. Che Na-yun ran to her. Are you feeling better now? Yeah. Yu Yun-ha walked past Che Na-yun and Kim Su-ho, stopping in front of me. She stared at me lifelessly. She seemed weak and fragile. Was her food poisoning that bad? Does it still hurt? She shook her head. Oh Han-yan spoke up. Oh right, we'll be traveling in pairs inside Disneyland. You, go with me. Yu Yun-ha spoke before Oh Han-yan could explain the pairs. What? What are you doing, Yun-ha? Che Na-yun looked at her oddly, but Yu Yun-ha grabbed my sleeve tightly. I wondered why she was acting this way, but since she seemed to have something important to say, I agreed. Sure. Just like that, I was paired with Yu Yun-ha and entered Disneyland. Inside, it felt like a fairy tale, but Yu Yun-ha was silent, sighing and glancing at me from time to time. Wondering why she was so down, I brought her to a roller coaster to cheer her up. As expected, she panicked as the ride went up and looked lifeless when it ended. Are you feeling better now? If not, we'll go again. No, I'm fine, so let's skip this and ride that. She pointed at the giant Ferris wheel. I frowned. Isn't that a couple's ride? Why go there with me?
There's something I need to talk to you about. Her voice trembled. If you say so, what is it about? She didn't reply, so I followed her to the Ferris wheel. To be honest, it was my first time on one. Inside the slow-moving pod, we sat in silence. What is it? I finally asked. Oh, is it about the bullet I asked you to refine? Is it too difficult? No, I should be able to give it to you by next month. That leaf wasn't ordinary. Right? If any's left over, you can use it for your research. Research? Yeah, for your pharmaceutical company. We're allies, aren't we? Or maybe I'm just an investor, haha. Yu Yin-ha clenched her teeth and dropped her head in silence. Then, Koom! A loud rumble shook the pod. I looked down, then back at Yu Yin-ha. She was staring at me with a determined look, unconcerned about the chaos below. What? Remember what I said? That I had something to talk to you about? Yeah, go ahead. You see, Koom. The Ferris wheel shook and stopped. Yu Yin-ha didn't react, but I looked down. Below, two people glared at each other. I focused my hearing and sight. So it really was you. To think you're having fun with a girl. Should I say it's to be expected from a kid? Jin Sayuk was leering at Kim Soo-ho and Chae Na-yoon. You! Kim Soo-ho glared at Jin Sayuk. So you do recognize me? Well, you'd be a fool not to. After all, it's just you and me. Who are you, and why are you picking a fight with us? Chae Na-yoon stepped forward, wearing a polar bear hat. Shut your mouth, shit for brains. Shit, you dare to say that again? Chae Na-yoon was headstrong, but Jin Sayuk was on another level. Jin Sayuk condensed her magic power into a ball and threw it at Chae Na-yoon. It exploded, sending a beam of magic power into Chae Na-yoon's stomach. Chae Na-yoon was blasted 100 meters away, hitting the asphalt. Even Kim Soo-ho couldn't react. Hey, I think we'll have to talk later. The situation was bad. Chae Na-yoon was knocked out in one blow. Jin Sayuk was supposed to be a growing final boss. Why was she so strong? I opened the pod door and tried to jump down, but Yu Yin-ha grabbed my wrist. I looked at her hand, then her face. I don't think I can do it later. If it isn't now, I don't think I can say it. Yu Yin-ha looked like she was about to cry. I froze. What could have caused... Oh! A light bulb went on in my head. The pieces finally fit. Part of the Yu Yin-ha scandal must have happened already. That explained her stress-induced gastritis. Then you don't have to say it. Even if you don't, I'll help you. I smiled and tapped Yu Yin-ha's head. Then I jumped down from the Ferris wheel.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.